Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Trauma Informed Talk with Coach Gabby. I got my hair cut and I look like Albert Einstein. All is right with the world. Today, we are talking EMDR. I have a computer off screen. EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a form of therapy that mental health treatment technicians use. The method involves moving your eyes a specific way while you process traumatic memories. EMDR's goal is to help you heal from trauma or other distressing life experiences. The eye movements, the patient follows the therapist's fingers or a light with their eyes while focusing on a traumatic memory. I did something a little different. Desensitization, the patient repeatedly exposes themselves to the memory in a controlled way to reduce the intensity. Very true. Reprocessing, the patient works with the therapist to process and integrate the memory into their overall narrative. I've done that. Now I'm going to tell you my first person tale of successful EMDR therapy. So I did EMDR for the first time, I want to say 3 years ago. I had already been seeing my therapist for a year before we even approached that. You need to be in a mentally solid place to even attempt EMDR. So if you are right now in the grips of severe depression or activated trauma, your therapist probably won't want to do that with you. But I want to talk about it today. If you are currently a patient in trauma-informed therapy, and this is something you haven't tried yet, I would like to speak to the benefits of it. Even just researching it, because I have such bad ADHD, I can never remember what it actually stands for. It said that it's a very controversial topic within therapy. Some people believe in it, some people don't. Well, you're about to hear from someone who did it as a patient and feels though it was a success, and I feel 1,000 times better having done it. And I've done it more than once, so I think I can actually speak to this. So before you start an EMDR session with your therapist, once again, you have to be in a good place. Even at that, if you go to your therapist and you're like, I think I'm ready to try EMDR, you're not going to do it in the very next session. There is so much that needs to happen before you actually do EMDR, meaning my therapist called it resourcing, which was we basically created tools that I would be able to use during the EMDR processing for, if God forbid, in the middle of processing a very traumatic memory, I started getting activated. You use these tools to calm down so you don't have to stop the process. You kind of like guide it to these tools. You're able to come back, get solid, be grounded, and get back into the EMDR process. So the two tools that we did prior to my first EMDR session were a thing called a calm, safe place, which my therapist just said, you, Gab, create a place in your head. It could be real, it could be fictional, it could be a mix of both, that you know that if you think about it, you can be calm and grounded and centered. So I had to create a place in my brain, and we would practice me going there. And in the weeks prior to even doing EMDR, if I was out in the world, I would have to practice going to my calm, safe place. And it just became a tool that I now can use all the time, but it was specifically created so that I could do this EMDR process. The second tool was called a light stream, where you basically imagine light beaming onto you, and you can control the colors of the light and how much it washes over you, and a way to create like a warmth and safety in the situation. So those were the two resourcing techniques I did before I even started an actual EMDR session. So in my very first EMDR session, we had decided that the first trauma that I wanted to reprocess and deal with was the fact that I have no contact with my oldest brother. He's 20 years older than me, and throughout my life, he has been both verbally and emotionally abusive. Our relationship definitely led to a lot of stuck points that I believed about myself, my role in my family, how I was heard, how people supported me, and it really was a damaging part of my life. So this was something I felt was really important to do. So when we sat down and I have so many different traumas with this specific person that originally I was like, let's go to one I remember from when I was 3 years old, because I thought, oh, that'll be that's the one to do. But while we were actually processing and getting back into my childhood home and me being a little kid, it was interesting because I was able to view other traumas that had happened, even though I may have been older, from the perspective of my first trauma with him. So I was almost seeing myself as like a 4-year-old, him as a 24-year-old, but I could see all of the traumas. The other part of this is it's almost out of body. So my therapist, we didn't use lights. We used these things that were like clickers. I held them in my hand and they would buzz. And she had them at the highest frequency for me because with all my energy, I needed it to be really intense. And it would go from side to side to side to side. And she just keep clicking it while I'm like processing. And she wouldn't even, like, I wouldn't be saying what was going on out loud to her. I'm just doing it in my head. And she's like, all right, so think of the memory, think of being there, see yourself. And so you're like seeing a memory as though it's a movie. You're not in it. Like you're not back at being 3 and scared. You're a grown up watching you at 3 being scared, right? That was amazing. I think like for that alone, if anyone's gone through trauma, it is such a power move, at least it was for me, to kind of be like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not a scared 3-year-old. I'm me. Let me see how this plays out. So in that, this really 2 cool things happened. One, I created a new calm, safe place while in the midst of my EMDR, because I realized while I was having these memories of my childhood, my calm, safe place is my childhood family room where I used to lay in front of like this glass door that we had a deck and the light would come in and stream on me and I would just lay on the floor. So it was almost like light stream and calm, safe place was a real memory that I was able to like attach to in the EMDR session. So like I was able to feel safe in the space of where the trauma happened. That was amazing. And that calm, safe place is now my calm, safe place. Not the one I created when we were resourcing, the one that happened in the midst of an EMDR session. And I use it all the time now. If I'm, anytime I'm feeling anxious, tense, I can just get back to my family room carpet, light stream. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. So found a new resource in the midst of it. But what really happened was I was remembering these traumas, the way my brother spoke to me, the horrible things he would say to me. I mean, really awful things you wouldn't say to an enemy, let alone your kid's sister who's 20 years younger than you. And instead of being hurt, instead of being the little kid, I was watching it like a ghost almost. And there was something ridiculous to me about a grown man being mean to a little kid. Like it was ridiculous. Like watching it play out, I could not control myself. And I started hysterically laughing to the point that my therapist is like, are you crying or laughing? And I'm like, I'm laughing. And she's like, say what's going on. How are you feeling? And I'm like, this is ridiculous. What kind of an adult? I don't care. I mean, even a 25-year-old. What kind of 25-year-olds mean to a 5-year-old? Oh my God. And then it turned into, how sad. Oh my gosh, how sad. Oh, my poor brother. This is like laughable and sad. I feel sad for him. So by the end of it, and then she's like, well, how do you feel about Gabby? And I'm like, little Gabby, she's amazing. Look how strong she is. She's put up with all of this. She's had to deal with so much and she's still in here pitching and with a big smile on her face and being kind. Oh my God, I love Gabby. And it was in that EMDR session that I went from the constant voice of I hate Gabby, Gabby's the worst, I'm never good enough, I'm not good enough, to Gabby, I'm so proud of you, kid. Gabby, my strong little girl. Gabby, you did it. Gabby, thank you. Thank you for sticking with it and that we're still here today, Gabby. Oh, Gabby, I love you so much. And within that session, I had peace with my older brother. Stuck points that I believed about myself were out of my head. I was no longer a victim of trauma. I was a powerhouse survivor of trauma. And that was just in the very first EMDR session. So when that was such a success, we continued to do it for so many other things. I've done EMDR in the different parts, but that's for another video. If that sounded interesting to you, if you would love to get to a place where you love yourself again, where you want to heal your inner child, where you want to laugh at the people that were evil to you and know that you are the powerhouse, EMDR might be a technique to bring up with your therapist. Now, not all therapists are qualified to do this. You have to make sure it is someone who's certified in this specific type of therapy. But I'm telling you, I really do think it was a game changer for me. And I think 90% of my happiness came out of doing an EMDR session, truly, truly. And my love for myself came out of that session. So I hope that helped any of you who've been like, what is EMDR? And is it something I should even try? And I know that it isn't for everyone. I am very prone to my imaginative state. It's very easy for me to be open to my brain and just things like that. But if you can try it, and if you're willing to do the resourcing and practice with your therapist, I mean, it could take, you might be resourcing for 2 months before you even get to the EMDR session, because you have to practice with the paddles, with the light, whatever works best for you. But I recommend it. So I hope you guys are having a great week. Ooh, what do we want to? I have a big gig on Sunday, guys. I want to get into a very big gig. One of my probably my biggest speaking gig of the year. So I think what my affirmation for this week is to truly be building up Gab. I want to be loving myself this week. I know last week was self-care. This week is self-love. Let's piggyback off of Valentine's Day. I was giving love to a lot of people last week. This week, it's for me. I am going to be loving on Gab because I know Gab is going to give an amazing talk next Sunday. She's gonna kill it. You know why? Because Gabby is strong. Gabby is kind. Gabby loves the world. So I am going to just keep loving me this week. I hope you can love you this week. And I will see you next week. Bye, everyone. Coach Gabby signing out.